Hey guys, it's RSI Studios back again with a new video, and today's video is, the Jaws ride. I have mentioned in my last, the Back to Future ride video I just did on Retro Series. But yeah, today, this is a ride that everybody at Universal Studios, or at least community, loved, and, will never ever be forgotten. Honestly, everybody has been asking Universal to bring this classic back. I don't blame them. Jaws the Ride is an amusement ride attraction based on Jaws film series and located at Universal Studios Japan. It originally opened at Universal Studios Florida in Orlando in 1990. And another installation later opened at Universal Studios Japan in 2001. The ride uses tour boats to take guests through a horrible of a fictional Amity Island, which begins as a leisurely tour that is abruptly interrupted by an attack of a famous great white shark. The concept is an expanded version of the Jaws miniature attraction featured in the studio tour at Universal Studios Hollywood in California. In 2012, the attraction was removed from Florida theme park to make room for the second phase of expansion in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. So the Jaws ride in Universal Studios Florida was located in San Francisco area and is also known as Amity Island area. And then the one in Japan was straight Amity Island area. And the one in Universal Studios Hollywood is obviously part of the tram tour. It's nothing of its own thing. But, so what's around now is the Japan one. Like, the original attraction at Universal Studios Florida was inspired by a small attraction on the long-running studio tour at Universal Studios Hollywood, in which the studio tour tram passes through a several set inspired by the 1975 film Jaws. The attraction had the Hollywood location opened in 1976 and is still in the operation for the University of Florida. The park project Universal borrowed concept of the Hollywood tram experience when designing the ride in Orlando. The original ride was designed by MCA Universal Planning and Development in association with the Ride and Show Engineering Inc., a company that designed the original scene on the studio tour. Steven Spielberg, who directed the first film in the series, also served in creative consultation for the new ride installation. Following the open day of Jaws within the park of June 7, 1990, and experienced fragment breakdowns as a result of special effects involved as the other opening day rides, confrontation, earthquake, the big one. However, while Universal was able to eventually resolve many of the technical issue bugs in the column and earthquake rides, the Jaws ride continued to have issues and was often evacuated on a daily basis. Universal temporarily shut down the ride in August 1990 and sued the Ride and Show Engineering Inc. for negligence in design of the ride. Throughout 1992, Universal had limited success in redesigning some aspects of the ride while the attraction remained closed. Eventually, Universal collabed with totally fun company ITC Entertainment Intanon and Oceaneering International to install an entirely new ride system with the modification special effects. One change results in the first scene where Jaws bit onto the tour boat and turned it 180 degrees to be replaced with the gas dock explosion scene. Another replaced with a change was the final, which was originally based on the ending on the first film. Instead, it was simulating to the firing of the rifle at the air tank in the shark's mouth. The scene was replaced by the loosely based on ending for Jaws 2, where the shark is electrocuted after biting an underwater cable attached to a high voltage barge. Oceaneering provided the animatronics shark for the redesigning ride. It was their first theme project. The ride officially reopened in spring of 1993, and several stars were presented, including Roy Scheider, Lorraine Gary, and Steven Spielberg. On March 31st, 2001, Jaws was officially opened at the Universal Studios Japan. The ride system for the attraction was developed by MTS System Corporation. Following the hurricanes that struck Central Florida in 2004, Universal was forced to temporarily close the ride in January 2005 due to the rising cost of petroleum, which was used by fuel. Numerous specific effects throughout the attraction was the tour boats. The ride finally reopened in December 2005, but was listed as seasonal and only opened on busier days. The last until February 2007, when the ride was finally open full time again. After numerous guests complained during the 2005 closure, several renovations were made in the ride. The attraction was further refurbished every year from 2008 to 2011. So the story goes, after the shark, nicknamed as Jaws, was eventually destroyed by Chief Brody, Matt Cooper, and Quint in 1974, Brody became a legend in Amity Harbor, and the Jaws incident inspired by Steven Spielberg's big Hollywood movie. However, tourism on Amity Island strongly decreases following the incident due to a fear of sharks. Eventually, residents seaman Jake Rowdy decided to open a new boat tour on the island, which would take guests out to the historical areas where the shark attacks actually occurred, which ultimately brought back tourism onto the island. So as guests centered Captain Jake's Amity boat tours, they walked through a series of boat houses located near Amity Harbor, which hold various fishing supplies. Neutrally affection featured numerous overhead television monitors that are tuned to Amity's local TV station, WGSWS 13, the station that bites, which also has a tagline. The station that plays a hits station features a low-budget local talk show entitled "Hey There, Amity," children's and new programming, ads for local businesses, and promos for the classic movies, television shows, many of them from Universal Library. Upon reaching the end of the queue, guests are loaded onto one of the Captain Jake's boat tour. After boarding the tour boats, guests learn that they are taking a guided scenic cruise to visit the actual location of the shark attacks that occurred during the summer of 1974, which were made famous in the popular Hollywood movie that was released not long afterwards. The tour boat is piloted by one of Captain Jake's skippers and is protected by any Army Cerberus 40M grenade launcher. However, guests are reassured by the skipper that they won't need to use it, as no sharks have been seen in the area since the attacks. The tour begins in the Amity Harbor. That the boat passes the home of Chief Brody, the various harbor side businesses. That the tour boats approaches the lighthouse situated on top of the rocky jetty. The tour is suddenly interrupted by a radio station distraction called by from the fellow boat tour skipper named Gordon. His call for help turns into screams of horror, followed by the mysterious silence as the skipper contacts the home base and attempted to find out what is going on with Gordon. Boat in the tour boat crosses the jetty to reveal that the remains of Gordon's tour boat Amity 3 is sinking under the water. Suddenly, a dorsal fin appears out of the water. The fin submerges and swims under the boat tour, the boat rocking it back and forth. However, the skipper pulls out the grenade launcher as the dorsal fin rises out in the water and is starboarded, not realizing that it is actually loaded with the skipper's fires that the shark, but misses. They try firing the second shot, but misses again, and the fin sinks back beneath the surface of the water. The skipper then comes up with the idea to try to hide in the tour boat near the boathouse and wait as the skipper brings the tour boat to a stop inside and look for somewhere to tie it up. Loud crashing noises break into silence as walls of the boathouse begin to shake. The skipper realizes that the shark is banging itself against and outside of the boathouse, trying to break in. The skipper starts to drive off, but unable to get the tour boat to drop into gear. After several 10 seconds of fighting with the tour boats, throttle. The skipper finally gets it and drops into gear. Then the shark head surfaces inside of the boathouse, grazing the side of the tour boat. As the tour boat leaves the boathouse, the skipper is informed by Chief Rodeo over the radio that he'll be there in 10 minutes. The skipper replies, though, with the now famous line, 10 minutes, will be shark bait by 10 minutes, and picks it up the grenade launcher again just as the shark heads up, leaps at the other side of the tour boat near Bravelu's gas dock. Unfortunately, the next grenade that the skipper fires strikes the nearby gas docks, which erupts into flames, threatening the engulf of the tour boat and its passengers. However, the skipper managed to pilot the escape from the flames, which reached the tour boat. As the last resort, the skipper decides to unload everyone at the old fishing pier happened to be located near a high voltage bridge. Just as they reach the pier, the fin appears heading straight for the tour boat. Suddenly, the shark emerges right next to the tour boat and accidentally bites down onto the submerged power cable. As the steam cloud clears, the burnt corpse of the shark head resurfaces and makes in one final lunge at the tour boat. The skipper immediately takes one last shot at it with the grenade launcher and finally hits it, killing the shark. Despite the skipper begins to praise the bringing peace once again to Amity Island. With cheers from the guests, the skipper wants to keep it secret between them, and the guests agree. Afterwards, the skipper brings the guests back to the dock safely, where they dispark and exit the attraction. So the only incident this ride ever had was in July 1990. A 39-year-old man fell into the water while riding the ride after a boat railing allegedly broke. According to his lawyer, guests applaud as he was pulled back into the boat, having assumed that the incident was part of the ride. There was no serious injury, and he was sued at Universal for $1 million, claiming negligence and poor maintenance into the ride. So yeah, we're talking about this topic. There's people that were clapping for this guy because they thought it was part of the ride, that he was meant to fall into the water. But it was, note that he fell where the shark was emerging, literally like the deep side of the ride. And obviously, like I said, there was no injuries. I don't know why, but there's somebody out there claiming that someone died or something or anything like that about the Jaws ride. People are still talking about the Jaws ride, but someone's bringing this topic but mixing it up with like he passed away or Jaws bit him too hard, he went to the hospital. Nah, this is the only story of somebody falling into the water of the Jaws ride, and this was the first Jaws ride. So if you look in the Jaws rides that you see on YouTube, it's not in that ride. Like it's not in those videos that this ride was. You gotta look way back in 1990 when the Jaws ride was originally, the first debut Jaws ride when the park opened. So the Jaws ride was popular. It just was so expensive to maintain. So unfortunately, Universal had announced that on January 2nd, 2012, that Jaws ride will completely close its doors for the park and forever. But the reason is because Universal Studios had opened up a Harry Potter ride, and it got popular at Universal Islands of Adventures. That they wanted to make sure the attendance were even out 50-50 with Universal Studios Florida, which attendance at Universal Studios Florida was lowering itself. So they had to bring the Boy Wizard over at Universal Studios Florida. So that the only way they planned to bring in that, they had to remove one huge space that the lagoon was taking from the Jaws ride, and they had to make sure to put that next ride theme at where Amity Island was, because it makes sense according to Universal, because Jaws was located at the end of towards the corner of Universal Studios Florida, wherever map, and Islands of Adventure was closed. The Harry Potter ride was right there as well. Jaws ride was a fan favorite. It is known today that people bring the topic of, we'll get a Jaws ride. Will we ever get a remake of this ride? Will something of Jaws pop up at Universal Studios Florida? And Universal Studios Florida have answered with parades, little features of the Jaws around their park. With the opening, those stores they open, tribute stores they be opening left and right, and then they had a legacy store. But people are wondering, would the attraction or some type of aspect of attraction come back? And the answer is, I'm not sure, because you can't always redo something and expect it to be a hit again. But people are rooting that like maybe Epic Universe might take Jaws back in this park, or maybe Universal Studios might have more space at the time because everything's going to Epic Universe and Islands of Adventures, and they could bring back Jaws. And my theory is, people are saying no, they shouldn't bring it back, and some people are saying yes, bring something back of Universal. And my idea for this, and I don't know if I should do a topic video on this, and it sucks that Jaws doesn't exist in the park, but we could do ride the rides, just like how Universal Studios use the phrase ride the movies. And so like we could make something like the Great Movie Ride and bring this to Universal Studios Florida, and maybe bring Back to the Future, a concept of Back to the Future, maybe E.T., Jaws, Jurassic Park, maybe if it's needed. But there's YouTubers already talking about this concept, and that's the only way I think Jaws will work, low-key, because just like the Universal Tram Tour at Universal Hollywood, we don't got a tram tour in Florida, and I feel like we have a great ride the rides ride or something like that, and it'll kind of be like our tram tour for Universal Studios, which is not in any convo with the park. And I'm always theorizing something like that because everyone misses this attraction, and I don't see them bringing this attraction ever back unless we come on with a concept like that, since Universal Studios already has Epic Universe opening next year, and they have space to build an Islands of Adventure for Zelda, and they just have an empty lot called Fear Factor, or used to be called Fear Factor. And I've always been wondering what can fit there. What will they bring there? New Harry Potter ride? Will Men in Black go away? Will Simpsons go away? Well, the concept of that is only future can tell. And all I'm saying is, Jaws is one of the fan favorites that everybody wants, and Universal Studios knows this. That's why they give us these extra development tributes around the park for Jaws, but no ride, unfortunately, at the park. After having issues of the grand opening of Universal Studios Florida for its first concept, and having to do redone for a second concept and being a success, Jaws ride is known for its history as one of the best classics around, and will continue being, knowing that it's not at the Florida park anymore, which is still a tram tour, but it's not the same, and it's in Japan, which is hours away from everybody in the United States. But yeah, this ride will never be forgotten. Everybody and their mamas are talking about this ride every time they enter Universal. Or man, even today when I go to Universal, it's not 100% likely I'm gonna hear this, but it was rare that I heard when I was hopping on Transformers that they asked, where's the Jaws ride at? And this guy was like 10-11 years late to the party. Jaws ride's been gone for like that a decade now, and it's sad to think about that. But this is like a ride that would everybody won't forget. The reason why this ride is probably popular, in my opinion, which I love the first Jaws, I don't like the rest of them, but it's because everyone wants to feel the fear of being attacked by a shark, or close to being attacked by a shark, something around that subject. But yeah, so like I said, if you guys like this video, I didn't say it yet, but if you guys like this video, please comment, like, subscribe, and I'll do more retro series. This one, the Jaws ride, to me, the reason why want to do this concept so bad, and I waited for a long time, is because, man, I remember going to Universal Studios in 2008-9, and didn't go on this ride because somehow a family member skipped it, and now going back in 2012 in the summer, I was looking forward to go to the Jaws ride, and I was told that the Jaws ride is gone. I'm like confused as hell, like, what do you mean it's gone? By the time I didn't even know Universal did this. They replaced old attraction, bring new ones in, and I was a little sad, devastated, but I was like, whatever, it is what it is. There's probably
a new one coming out, which is it was big time, a lie. But yeah, that's why I know my story about the Jaws, right? And if you guys like this video, like I said, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.